junior men's race, 152 competitors from 38 nations. 7,000 meters, a little bit over that. Here are the Japanese team there. Certainly they should do reasonably well, but there's no doubt about who the favourites are going to be. It's those all-powerful Kenyans. When they first started in 1985, they were second for 3 years. They then won this title for the last 5 years. So we're getting ready for the usual cavalry charge at the start.
The world cross-country, renowned for its fast starts, Peter. Quite often in the senior men's race, the first mile is covered in around 4:15. And it looks like this junior race is going to be pretty close to that, the way they've set out. It's obviously a good wide start, this field, for the athletes. Japanese athlete pushing to the front there. But a long, long way to go yet, although I was impressed by the winning margins of the lead athletes in the junior women's race, considering they only ran over 4.5 kilometres.
Well, that was certainly very impressive. The field got stretched out very quickly in the women's race. But look here, already the pattern beginning to become familiar. Up come those Kenyans into the prominent positions at an early stage of the race. And they've got some notable competitors amongst them, including Josephat Machuka, who was third in this race last year and who was disqualified in the finishing straight in the World Junior Championships at 10,000 metres, having already won the African senior title. He wears number 213. He's on the right-hand side of the picture. Next to him, number 214, Philip Mosima. Also prominent, number 212, Christopher Koskei. The Kenyans are prominent, so too are the Ethiopians, just tucked in behind. And the Ethiopians and the Kenyans have really dominated both the senior and junior men's cross-country championship races in recent years, Tim.
Just to pile on the agony, there's several Moroccans up there as well, so the Africans totally dominant here. And you can see there Machuka, Mosima and Nyakeraka ahead of Abebe and Jifar of Ethiopia. That lead group, well, I can hardly see a European amongst them. Quite astonishing.
So the numbers look out then. Josephat Machuka, they mentioned, wears 213, but nothing past 214, Mosima, 212, Koskei. Just with the junior women's race, it's 6 members per team, 4 to score. So already we've got certainly, well, all the Kenyans are up there, all 6 of them. There are 3 Ethiopians tucked in behind. And as you said, Tim, also Moroccan or 2. We look back, perhaps the leading European, I think, is the Russian Kashayev. And then there's also Kevin Sullivan of Canada, who was a World Junior medalist at 1,500 metres last summer. But none of those men are really able to stay with this pace, and it really is once again stretching them out. Just look what big a lead. We just had a little glimpse then back to the rest of them as how much these Africans are stretching out on the rest of the field.
Yes, they have such an advantage over the rest of the world, Peter. They of course live and have been born and bred at altitude, but additionally they all run to school. It sounds a bit of a cliche, but a lot of these African athletes, particularly the Kenyans, run to and from school, quite often several miles in each direction. And that's perfect grounding for getting into a really tough athletic competition. When they become seniors, of course, it becomes more disciplined. But a lot of these lads will have been running many, many miles every day for years and years before the age of 15, 16.
And here's the lead taken by Tegenu Abebe of Ethiopia. Here wears 91. On the right of the screen, 214 is Mosima. On the left of the screen, 213 Machuka. The other 2 Kenyans tucking in, that's 215 Nyakeraka and also 212 Christopher Koskei in 5th place at the moment. These 5 really stretching way away from the rest of the field.
A few clashes going on there between Machuka and the Ethiopian beside him, Abebe. Machuka, I think, a very intense young man, certainly when he was disqualified from that 10,000 in the World Junior Championships in September '92. A lot of people were very, very surprised. Most of the Kenyans are very quiet and calm in nature, and they let their legs do all the talking and fighting for them.
Machuka certainly went on an amazing racing spree at one time last year. He won the African Championships at 10,000 metres, and then the same week went back to take part in the Kenyan trials at 5,000 and 10,000 Olympics. He didn't quite make that, but he's a talent to watch for the future, undoubtedly. So here's the leading group well away, and here's the next group headed by number 97, or rather 93, Habte Jifar of Ethiopia.
Easy to underestimate the speed at which these athletes are moving, Peter. I think quite a few of them will be running in the senior race next year, and indeed it's the transition the young Kenyans and Ethiopians make very, very easily indeed from the junior to the senior ranks, one which the rest of the world, certainly the Europeans, really struggle with. They don't start running well into the senior ranks until they're into their early or mid-20s.
The number 213, that's Josephat Machuka, who off his past form should be the favourite, I think. He's in the lead from 214, Philip Mosima. Then we have the Ethiopian Abebe with Nyakeraka just behind, and also Christopher Koskei, who seems to be loping along at the back of this little pack. But really, Tim, they're settling into a good rhythm here, and the winner could come from any of these five.
It could. None of them look particularly comfortable. 213 on the right there. Machuka has been doing most of the work, running very, very aggressively, despite the fact he's got comrades around him. And I do feel for the Ethiopian there, Abebe, isolated really from the rest of his team. The Kenyans are renowned for working together in distance races, and I just wonder if they'll try and conjure something up here to get rid of Abebe.
They almost don't need to, of course. The team title is sewn up with 4 to score, 4 and 5. They can hardly go wrong with that, though they'd like to make it no doubt a clean sweep, having already seen their women do just that. Well, 214, Philip Mosima making a bit of a break now, seems to be stretching it out. Machuka doing his best to hang on. So 214 it is, Mosima, then Machuka, the favourite, then Abebe, then Nyakeraka and Koskei. So making a determined bid for home, going over that undulating stretch for the last time. Mosima coming into the finishing straight, Tim.
Yes, the sprint he's put on here, quite astonishing, pulling away from the rest of the field. He looks so easy too. Noticeable that both these athletes in first and second are running in bare feet. They feel a lot more comfortable with that. Indeed, they'll do most of their training in bare feet back in Kenya. But Mosima here really pushing hard towards the line to try and get away from Koskei. Great race between these young Kenyans.
So Machuka, slightly surprisingly, left behind a little bit in this bid for the finish. 214 Mosima and 212 the Koskei. But Mosima now coming away. He made that first bid to come into the finish. Koskei held on to him for a while but doesn't seem to have any answer. Mosima it is who's coming through to take the title. Koskei coming in second place. Machuka it is who's third. And Nyakeraka makes it 1, 2, 3, 4 for Kenya. And here comes Tegenu Abebe of Ethiopia. And look at that huge gap from those first 5 back to the rest. There's the winner, Philip Mosima.
It just goes to show, Peter, how a pack can draw itself away from the rest of the field. There's Reta and Jifar coming through there in 6th and 7th places for Ethiopia. Looks like they've sewn up the silver medals in the team race.
And there's the leading Spaniard, number 88, Rodriguez, alongside the Moroccan. We just come back, though, to pick up Kimutai of Kenya finishing 8th, then 2 more Ethiopians. And there is the first non-African, Wener Kashayev of Russia. So the young Kenyans celebrate once again, 1, 2, 3 and 4 in the men's race, with 3 Ethiopians behind them. Needless to say, of course, the team title went to Kenya. Ethiopia second. That makes it 5 successive victories in these championships for the junior Kenyan team.